Welcome to the Twin Cities Division.
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 I like mine better.
From the historic Y7 Depot, welcome to the Twin Cities Division.
Welcome to the Twin Cities Division.
Well, hello, everybody. Hey, Ken. Hey, Ken.
Hi there, Tom.
Hey, Tom.
I'm outnumbered. I need another Tom to help me out here. So, well, looks like we have some people watching here. What do you think, Mr. Zeska? We're getting a good crowd.
We are getting a good crowd, and I'm happy to see that. And then, you know, the nice part is we always get the after watch, which is fun. So I'm glad that there's people that are enjoying what we're doing, and because we enjoy seeing everybody. So welcome, welcome. Make sure you like, subscribe, send money, whatever all those podcast things are. I'm not into.
Yeah, if you're in chat, please say your name so we know who's here. So we got Randy Relanders here, Colin, Jay Bickford, Tom Lennon, Dan Cohen, his model road journeys here, Dodo on Ops, Big Wag, all 3 dubs from Wisconsin, PCF partner rail artist Mike Penn. Good evening, Mike. Welcome back to the Twin Cities division. So Ken and I will quickly go over what is coming up. So, and here's the first. If you guys were both there, if you want to say
Yes.
what was going on there. And,
Oh, that was such a great event. You know, the North Metro Model Railroad Club is decided they're going to start doing operations quarterly, and they invite us, and they also invite new members. So it's really a nice event that they put on. This time I ran the Staples job, so I was stationed in Staples, but I ran down to Brainerd and switched Brainerd, and then I switched out the yard and serviced trains that came through. It was flawless. I just had a great time. So I recommend it. We're going to do it again, and they've invited us back in March, right after the modelers meet. So put that on your calendar. We will highlight it also, and I'm sure you'll see it on their webpage. But it's great. Ken B, what do you think?
Oh, it's just a wonderful time. I would encourage anybody that wants to get into ops or just run some trains on a beautiful layout to just sign up for the next one. I was able to run 3 trains. I was using Minnesota commercial power, which was fun, and so I had 3 mainline type trains. So I wasn't doing any like branch line switching or anything like that. But it was so fun following the signals around the layout, because the layout is, I mean, as far as I can tell, it was totally scenic, and it's got operating signals everywhere. So that was really fun to do that. And I know a lot of people get kind of, I wouldn't say like scared off, but they get kind of leery about going to an ops, when they hear the word ops session, especially if they're new. I mean, this is so laid back. It's just, I mean, the guys there are just so nice, and you just tell them what type of train you want to run, and they just point you over there, go talk to that guy there, and he'll get you set up. And he just, other people were very friendly, helped you out with whatever train you were running, and just really laid back and fun, and everybody's just joking around. So it's, just a fun afternoon. If anybody has any thoughts about, oh gosh, I wish I would have went or whatever, I would highly encourage anybody that just wants to spend an afternoon running trains or learning a little bit about ops, and definitely something to do.
yes, the club members were very friendly and answered lots and lots of questions. So we have
Lots and lots of questions.
lots of questions. So, all right, then we got, so I'm posting this. We want you. Okay, so we're looking for some presentations here, Ken Z. What do you think for Zoom?
Exactly, for Zoom, for all sorts of reasons, and so if you're not quite in the Twin City area, we'll help you record your clinic. In fact, I have one recorded from Joe Binish that's really a good one. It's just waiting for him and Rich to supply me the last couple photos. So if you know those two hoodlums, make sure you point that out to them. But there's so many things that we can put little videos out. We'll show them on a Zoom. We'll show them at our conventions, at the modelers meets. We'll put them on the NMRA, TCD NMRA media page. Now, one of the things that I don't know offhand, and I meant to look this up, is when you do a Zoom clinic, I think you get author points, don't you, Tom?
Yes. Presentations, video presentations are the same as a clinic.
Okay.
So you get points. You get points. I don't know. It's the same, but it does count. It's count towards your AP, either volunteer or author.
Yep. Good. So, and again, if you're saying, I don't know if I want to go for the MMR or anything, that doesn't matter. But just recognize yourself for the things you do, because you're not necessarily doing it just to get a little certificate to put on the wall. You're doing it to help the railroad community, model railroad community, and that to me is much more valuable. I mean, that's really the great thing to do. So I encourage you.
Yeah, don't be a gatekeeper with your info. Get a hold of us at tcdnmra@gmail, and we'll make you look good.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, yep. The operators retreat. So what I'm gonna on the 1st of January, all this stuff's gonna go up. There'll be a newsletter right after the 1st, and it'll talk to you about the operators retreat. Oh, I'm sorry, you bounced me one too fast.
Oh, okay.
So all you need to do is write tcdmedia@gmail, and we will put you on the list. It's going to be $10, and you can pay that the day of. We'll meet at 7:30 at the Perkins in Bloomington, right off of 494. Maybe that's Edina, I don't know. And then you'll get your assignments, and you'll go from there. And we will absolutely guarantee you will have 2 great operating sessions and a lot of fun. So, there it is.
Mr. Borowski's a host. What do you think about hosting that, Ken? New operators, was that great or good or what?
Yeah, I've been doing it for a couple of years now with the new operators, and it's been fun. I mean, a lot of guys aren't necessarily new to the hobby, and some guys actually have operated. I've seen them around on other layouts too. So it's not only just for new guys. If you want to get out and see some layouts you haven't seen in the past too, or try some different jobs that you haven't done.
Exactly.
For example, today I hosted an op session today, and we had Dan Dosa was my dispatcher today. He had never done that before. So that's the type of stuff that you can experience at the operators retreat. Just, try some new jobs, and try some different things that you haven't done, and see some great layouts and meet some other people. It's a good time.
It's a great way to make contacts. If you want to get into some of these operation groups, this is the opportunity for you to make contacts with layout owners who are looking for operators.
Yep.
And like I said, $10. It just helps us keep these things going.
Modelers Retreat. It's 15th and 16th. Friday night is a social. Saturday is more displays and presentations. This is it's become something that not only is it a big thing around here, but it's just last night I was listening to the Second Session podcast, and they were going on and on about what a great event this is. And it is. It's so friendly. You can sit down and talk to all the other modelers and find out how they did what they did, and I think that's just really a rare opportunity. So again, it's not expensive. I think last year it was $15. I don't know if it'll be the same, but for a big day and all those activities, it's great. There'll be coffee pots on. There'll be donuts and soft drinks. There's good places to go to have lunch around there, or you can bring lunch in. Some people have Domino's deliver. So whatever you want to do, all the fun you can have with your boots on.
And it says contact Joe, but you can always contact Joe through the TCD NMRA.
Absolutely.
At
Info.
Gmail. You can
Yep.
always do that.
Always do that, and we'll forward it to them. So great. The Minnesota Fremo layout. Now, I understand that the HO layout down in Burnsville, they changed it slightly. They'd made it a huge point-to-point, and they were having fun running trains back and forth. But some of the people that were passing by, didn't see that train running all the time, and they wanted to see that, so they changed it around so they can still operate, but now they can have a train running all the time. So that's a great way to see what they're doing. And then there's a pop-up hobby shop right across the aisleway from them that you can see, Big John's Train Shop.
Ken, just a note on that too about the Burnsville Fremo layout. I was over there this past weekend, and they, like you said, they have changed the layouts. They do have a continuous running track. Plus, they've got numerous branch lines too, where they can do their switching too. So if you like watching that, plus they were able to extend their lease one more month, and it might even go farther than that. But they're going to be there through the end of February now, for sure. And then we'll see what goes on after that. So
terrific. So that's, and then we're the Fremo N Scale in Laconia. They're talking about putting up a new date for a visit. Ken, do you have any information on that?
Yeah, I sent out a note to the members, and they all seemed, good with that, but nobody's kind of come up with a date yet. So maybe one of them guys are listening tonight, and that might kind of light a fire under somebody to come up with a date. But yeah, they definitely want to have some more people out there one time, and run some trains and, check it out. Just like the other Fremo layouts, the layouts are always changing. So you see it one time, it might be totally different the next time you see it. So, it's always fun to run on that type of stuff.
It is. So Hennepin Overland, again, they're open more weekends. They're running another, they had Trains After Dark last week, and I know they're going to do that again. You'll have to look at their website to see when they're going to do that again. And it's a great layout. That layout has amazing history. It goes back to the 70s, and it was in the basement of Hub Hobby, and you can go there, and if you've been seeing it since the 70s, like some of us old guys have, you'll see some things that you recognize. But it's constantly being refreshed. They're expanding on it right now. The trains they run are great. The trains run great. It's just well worth seeing. They're going to start doing some more operating sessions, and that's another one of those things where they've invited NMRA members to come, but they'll also be using that as an attraction for more club members. So there you go.
Yep. So we can go operate that club as well.
Meetings via Zoom, 11th and the February 8th. As Randy said earlier, we're going to have a presentation on LCC. I know that we're going to have a presentation on modeling a steel mill, which will be pretty cool. And also, that's the kind of place where we can use more things to pop in. But make sure you drop in on the Zoom meeting. And it's one of those things that keep in contact with your fellow model railroaders around the world, even if you're don't want to go out in the snow and the cold. So we talked about the operators retreat. We talked about layout tours. Layout tours will be in April, 2 weekends, one in the North Metro, one in the Southwest. The 16th through the 20th is the Thousand Lakes Region Convention. And the NMRA National Surfliner is in Long Beach. And, I know there's guys that go every year for those conventions, but I suggest you try to get to at least one or two, every few years, because it's a treat, just really fun. So here's more information on the Sawdust City Hauler. So Tom, what do you know about Sawdust City?
Sawdust City, that's the name Eau Claire got because it was one of the largest logging areas in that western Wisconsin. In fact, the area of Dell's Pond was one of the largest logging areas. So our chairman, Dave and his lovely wife, Bonnie Menard, have put together some amazing prices. And we're at the 29 Pines Sleep-In Conference Center. Beautiful hotel, beautiful rooms, beautiful restaurant, centrally located between Eau Claire and Chippewa Falls. They've lined up speeder trips. If everybody knows what a speeder or a putt-putt, maybe put that in the comments. What do you call it? Do you call it a speeder or a putt-putt? We'll start a poll. And you'll go on the former Milwaukee Road line, and it's a wonderful trip down the Chippewa River. You're right next to the river the whole way, and they've got, 10 or whatever speeders that you can put, 4 or 5 people on and some trailers. And it's you'll really appreciate the suspension in your car after you get off one of those. But they also have the Carson Park will have train rides behind live steam Milwaukee Museum. Clinics are being lined up against. Joe Binish is helping out with that. Layout tours. Eau Claire is home to some of the best narrow gauge layouts in the country. Absolutely some of the best looking and operating layouts featuring narrow gauge in the country. And of course, our celebration room, which is more than just models. Remember, there's photos, black and white photos, there's crafts, there's prototype modeling, there's modules, there's all kinds of things to enter and bring into the celebration room. And you can do it just like a modeler's retreat. You can bring models just to display. You don't have to stay there for merit or contest. Come in and show us what you got. And of course, our banquet and awards night and our famous lucky ticket raffle, which is always fun to see who can get the craziest prizes on that. So, and the hotel rates are out. We'll keep sending out the info. I think Mr. Zeska's already booked his hotel room. I think he wanted the one closest to the bar. Was that right, Ken? Or was that
the bar and the elevator?
Elevator.
So that it's easier to walk home.
That's it. I like that. So, and then make sure you support our local hobby shop, Scale Model Supplies. Wonderful inventory of all the detail parts, plastics, paints, and things like that. Hobby, they supplies us with gift certificates and things for our prizes. And we'd also, once again, want to thank Scenic Express for their huge donation to our Modeler Skills Day, which we will be having again soon. We are talking to the host of that, and he is all excited and has so many ideas on what we can offer using that great space. So
I want to add too that if anybody out there knows of a local event or something going on that we might have missed, to definitely send it in, because if you haven't looked at the website recently, everything on there is current and updated now, and we're trying to keep it as current as we can, but you can only put on there what you know about. So if there's something that somebody out there knows about that it's not on there, send it in to the TCD email so it can get forwarded to our webmaster and he can get it on the event page.
Even if it's a train sale, the train show's coming up, anything in the area, anything else with other divisions nearby, let us know. We'll post it on our webpage in here.
Yeah, you can never have too much information on there, because then nobody can say, well, I didn't know about it. Well, if it's on there, that you don't have to go to it, but at least you know about it. So
exactly.
All right, we got one vote for Speeder. Nothing for Speeder's beating putt so far. So, Mr. Zeska, you want to tell us about our program tonight?
Okay, a couple weeks ago we did the Modeler's Eye, and so we're doing it. It's just a touch different than last time, and so what we're going to do is a few people have sent in a prototype photo that inspired them, and then they're showing us what they did with it. Well, one of them, we didn't get the modeling in there yet, but as you look at this, I would like you to be inspired and then send us 2 photos and a little bit of conversation, if you would. I saw this photo of a prototype scene, of a prototype car, engine, automobile, anything that would go on a layout. And that inspired me. So I did this, and this, and boom, this is what I ended up with. So, so let's start, if you don't mind. This is a photo from Ken Borowski, and I love this photo. It's the prototype. So you see this big diesel pounding by this little country church. And because I like to get into the character of the model railroad, I'm thinking of the parishioners in there on a late May, early June morning, Sunday morning. All the windows are open, the doors open, and the pastor's just getting to a very significant part of the sermon. He's kind of quiet. He's getting ready to wind it up and get the parishioners all fired up, and boom, here comes the clinch field. And here it's a diesel, but it was at one time what it sure would have been a steam engine. And if the wind was just right, it would blow that smoke and that either that diesel smell or the steam smell right into the church. And of course, pastor would be upset. the ladies would be dusting themselves off, but all the little boys and men in there would be just grinning ear to ear. And so here's the scene that he made with it. And as you can see it, go ahead.
Ken, if I could go back to that first picture.
Sure.
If Tom could, or whoever's doing that. Yeah, there's a lot in this scene if you start to really look at it. It's kind of hard to tell, but the locomotives are coming around a 14-degree curve. If you've ever seen like a 13,000-ton coal train come around a 14-degree curve, you can just imagine what the flange squeal is like on that train coming around. Like you're talking about, you know, in the church, if you look at the church, you can see that a couple of the windows are open. I mean, I don't know if anybody's in there, but the windows are definitely open, and you can imagine that it doesn't have air conditioning. And yeah, it's quite the thunderous squealing roar coming around that curve. And just to the left of that telephone pole is a river. So the only place you can really park is in between the river and the railroad tracks. So everybody that goes to the church has to cross the railroad tracks on that little path there where the front of the engine is. And you go up the steps and you've got the outhouse in the back there behind it. So it's quite the location, just a neat scene. And if you look in the very distance, how we've all tried to do backgrounds on our walls and stuff, how you do the layered effect with the dark going to the lighter. And then you usually try and put that little wispy white on there to kind of give you the distance. That's the perfect example of like modeling, you know, trying to model that scene there. So
great. So let's see what the master did. So here we go. And I mean, the background looks just as he described. The church looks in a little better shape than it did in the photo, but that's okay.
One thing too is that, I mean, this is a scene on my layout where there's no siding, there's no spur track. It's just an area in between two other locations on my layout. And for the longest time, I didn't have anything in this spot on my layout. And I've taken tons of pictures of that church on the prototype. And it's like, why don't I have this on my layout? And, you know, after a trip down south, I came back and just carved out a chunk out of the mountain and kind of reshaped it and added that church. And it's like one of my favorite photo spots on the layout. It actually turned out really nice. It looks a lot like the prototype.
It is. And as a matter of fact, I'll tell you, if you get a chance to operate there, perhaps at the operator's retreat, it's a great spot to rail fan. You can get right down there and watch those trains come pounding around that curve, because it comes around a nice curve. And you need the Iowa Scaled Engineering flange squealer under there, Ken.
That'd be the spot for it, for sure.
Yep. Good. So thank you. I really appreciate you sending that in. Now, this is a shot that Colin Sullivan sent in, and I neglected to ask him if he'd modeled this, but I wanted to put it in because when you look at to me, there's a lot of industrial interest here. You can see the racks are just full of stuff, and I'm sure everything has a purpose, but the walkways are clear, they're well marked. So this is clearly a engineering, industrial engineering place, and it's being well run. So so I'd like to, well, if you have a scene like this and then you've modeled it, we'd like to see what it is. You can see the air exchangers in the back, and I can't tell exactly what all the debris is that's on those racks, but it seems to me my model makes a rack system like that. Probably other people do also.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in that scene. You've got the roll-up doors too, so the tracks lead into the building at some point too.
Yep.
You've got the yellow lines marked off where not to be beyond the line, because your vehicle's going to get hit by a train if they bring it in.
Exactly.
So, a lot of stuff, you know, trash bins and pallet stacks and all sorts of goodies in there.
Yeah.
As a prototype railroader, I will tell you this is a great scene also on how to edit. And a couple things that I see on people's layouts that they don't quite get is, as Ken Zeska pointed out, near the tracks is totally free of debris. That's where everybody walks. That's your office. And that goes for any, like a yard lead. I see people, I'm going to litter on my yard lead. If you look at any yard lead that's being worked, it's spotless. There's no water bottles. There's no this, because guys walk up and down there, women walk up and down there, don't want to step on all these things. So here where you see, it's kind of the great contrast between the clutter of those racks and piles of parts to the totally clean, 4 or 5 feet from the railhead. And that is a great use of what I call negative space. As modelers, we're tempted to fill that. And by not doing it, you make it more realistic, if that makes sense.
No, I agree. And you can look this, the grit or the ballast in between the rails is not big chunky rocks. It's smaller so that it's going to drain, but it's not going to be a tripping hazard. So this is really a nice picture to inspire you. And then you can also see interesting little details on the locomotives, which are fun. So Tom Lennon's on here, and this is something that Tom Lennon found. And I remember when he found it, he thought this was so cool. It was on the Twin City Public Television, had a article on old Minneapolis, and this was a bar that had a lot of color to it, and I won't get into all of it, but because Tom saw that Rock Island locomotive parked in front of it, he thought, what a great story this tells. And I happen to have an industrial or an urban area downstairs that he's going to just tear apart everything and put Big Al's into it. There's a lot of stories that go into Big Al's, and so you can see the unique look to it. Tom tells me that it was something that he thought he could scratch build and use his silhouette machine, Silhouette Cameo. So if you have no crickets or even the laser cutters, the Cameo is a pin plotter, if you will, that will cut out all these designs. So he's actually created this basic shape, and then he's cut out the facade that's going on in front of it. It's really unique because this is just up from the Rock Island Garden Yard and real close to the Milwaukee Southtown Yard. I'm sure that it got a lot of railroaders in there. So I'm sure they had good food, good alcohol. Tom noticed on some of the other pictures that out of the back, the second floor of Big Al's, there was a covered walkway that went over to that house. And, we're just not sure what was going on in that house. But, whatever. The package store, of course, would be so the railroad crew would have plenty of liquor to take back on their trip. Because Rule G wasn't enforced very well back in that era, so that's really cool. So this is
amazed at all the tracks crossing that road.
It is. It's
There
just
must be 6 tracks there.
Because the Rock Island was there, and this was the main lead behind the Rock Island train that went up to the Milwaukee Road depot, and ahead of it is the Rock Island passenger yard, the Milwaukee passenger yard, the Milwaukee Southtown yard, the main lines for both trains out of town. So there's a tremendous story.
The Sioux line used that as well.
Okay.
Yep. So at any rate, and here's just so you can see what Tom's coming up with. It's really unique, scratch built, and he's found all sorts of neat little things to go into it. Found a house that the walkway can go across, the package liquor store. So it's going to make a tremendous scene, a unique scene. And if you'll recall last year at the modelers meeting at the convention, we had this really drop your sock or knock your socks off structure. I think this is going to be one of those amazing things to look at the modelers meeting at the convention. This is going to be just incredible example of tremendous modeling. Yep. So really neat, really neat. So I have a Granger Road, and up in the little town, I have some sidings that go back to a grain mill. And I don't know much about this picture except I just liked it, so I grabbed it. But you can see that the rails are polished, so they're being used. The grass is coming up between the rails and alongside the rails. But it looks to me like they've probably been poisoned. I'd call the EPA on it, but I don't want to get anybody in trouble. And the locomotive is getting its side frames buffed off while it goes down that scene. Now, so I've been experimenting and trying to replicate something like that flavor on my layout. And this is what I've come up with. Now, I've had to go back and trim some of this out because I used Scenic Express. I use those little tufts, and they work out real well, but they're a little hard. Now, I've seen people that have since then, they've gone and they put a drop of white glue there, and then they will shake off some static grass, and that makes the grass easier to tip over. So I'm trying to recreate that right in that area. So, and it's little scenic details like this that tells you this is definitely out on the line someplace.
I like how you've got the flowers too on some of the weeds growing next to the building there behind that boxcar.
Good. Thank you. And that, of course, all scenery is a work in process. And every time I take a picture of it, I think, okay, that line is too straight. I'm going to have to get the weeds to go out more randomly and do things like that. So just something I'm working on. Here's another area, and I think I mentioned you. I modeled Minnesota. And so when you go out by Avon, Minnesota, and places out there like on the Lake Wobegon Trail, you'll find scenes like this. In the background, there's a fairly solid stand of trees, but in the front, you can see it's more tufts of trees, or it's a savanna where you've got little groupings of scrub oak or some kind of tree or another. At one time, this was probably all farmland, and probably not the best farmland in the world, but somebody tried to struggle and create something on it, or perhaps it was pasture land. This was at one time, of course, part of the Great Prairie. Nice little slough where you can imagine that on a nice fall day, you could tuck yourself in there and wait for some little mallards to come dropping in, because that would be a lot of fun. And so what I've done on my layout is this. I've got the trees painted in the background, and then some in the back corner there. And then I've done more tufts. Now I'm still working on the grass. As you can see, I put in some different colors of grass, but I want to do more, and I want to do more swamps. But again, as I said, this is what it's all about, and you just keep working on your scenery over and over again, because it's all part of the fun.
Hey, Ken, now that portion of your layout has been redone with florist foam. Is that the portion or no?
It is. And as a matter of fact, thank you for reminding me, because I want to plug NMRAX coming up. And one of the presenters in there is a guy by the name of Tom Gazer. You might know this guy better as Split Rock. But he demonstrated to me how he built his scenery on florist foam, and then he put it in. And you can imagine how hard it would have been to reach over the layout and do all that scenicking. Well, I used florist foam. I built it outside, or, where I could spray. And then I just picked it up, put them in, and then all I had to do is blend. And you can see a spot there ahead of the engine where it's a little greener, where I blended in. And I probably, I want to do some more blending, but that spot is also going to become a little slough. So, yeah, who the heck is Tom Gazer? I think, isn't that John Galt? Who's that John Galt guy? So that's what I'm working on down there. And then the last one, I'm working on a big decaling project, and I'm trying to take a lot of time to do this right. But every time I get concerned that I'm trying to do it too well, I come across a picture like this that proves to me that even the Northern Pacific paint shop can misspell some letters now and again.
So now, Ken, if you were going to do that car, would you spell it that way on your car, or would you do it the right way?
You know, fortunately, it's a wood chip car, and I don't have to worry about it. But I am doing an MNS 4750 hopper, and William Sampson created the decals. And on one side of the car, the M is backwards, and I'm going to do that.
Oh, nice. Okay.
In fact, I've done the same thing on my H1044. One side, the M was backwards, and I did that. So
I think you should model this car, bring it to the modeler's retreat.
Yeah.
Like I see Mike Jordan's in the chat, and then the first time someone makes fun of you, you do the Mike Jordan thing and you pull out this photo and slap it on the table like the ace of spades. And then just, there you go, buddy.
There you go, buddy. Or bring it to the NP Historical Society convention. That would be a good idea. I like that. I'll have to see if I can find. I could do that in any scale. That'd be fun.
And just
That
keep
would be
that
fun.
picture in your pocket at all times.
There you go. Okay, that's Tom. You've got a few more that you wanted to show.
Yes. I'll do some of mine, and then we've got some for the chat to look at and what they see. So here we see a scene of heaven, F units in northern Minnesota. No, this is Erie Mining Company coming south out of the Kramer Tunnel. Erie Mining got to one portion of the route and they couldn't dig a ditch or something, so they tunneled through and they call it Kramer Tunnel. And I would go up there and rail fan. And as if you notice, this tunnel has something above the entrance, and that is a rolling door.
Yeah, that was my first impression when I saw that. Is that a roll-up door or what?
It's a roll-up door. And so they can shut it in the winter, and it's got notches for the rails. And when they first started building the line and the engines arrived, they had to put them somewhere. And so they stored them inside this tunnel till they got the entire line built.
Oh, okay.
And so here it is. Here it is, a better picture of this Jack Kibble coming out, and you can see the roll-up door.
Yeah.
Right. You can see the concrete around it and the bricks and the signage. And I knew when I started building my Nolix that this was something I wanted to have. And so I named it Dosa because my friend Dan Dosa did a lot. And so I've got the tunnel. I got the roll-up door. You can see the notches on the door that if it would roll down.
Hey, is that a speeder or a putt-putt?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking it's a putt. I'm going to vote putt-putt, being the odd guy out. So it's a nice mini Prince putt-putt. Right? I just painted yellow. But like other pictures I've seen, they store material there. I've got a tie pile, and I've got a worker there with an electrical box who's checking, and you can see the electrical box going up to the door. And then the actual sign, it says do not enter, trains going by. And below my LED strip lights, which are falling down up there, I apologize, you can see I molded the rock, and you can see the drill marks that I used spackle, and then I pushed a nail into there, and you can see the drill marks into that tough granite up there.
Yep.
So here's another look at it, and the shrubberies and the tie pile and the sign and all electrical. But yeah, I thought that door, I said, well, I'm going to do that for sure. And then I put the notches in the door just to show that it would come down.
The extra points if that door does come down.
Yeah. That's what the NMRA appraiser said. Does it work? And I just stared at him. So,
but that would make a good entry for your prototype scene,
right?
If you want to do the achievement award.
Yeah. Yep. That was going to be one of them. And
good.
So this is the other side. Pretty nondescript. The south side of the tunnel has a siding and everything. North side, you see a bridge and a big fill. But what I see from here is, look at the background. And this is how my layout. And I've had some people question my choices of trees, that I just have pine trees and birch trees. But in the next few photos, that's all you see. And everybody's like, well, you should put some colorful trees. And my answer is there are elms and oaks up there on the Iron Range, but they're in people's yards. And this is how I model that scene, you know, the sweeping curve, and then it's just pine trees and birch trees. And that makes a good solid backdrop. And then here you can even see North Shore Mining. And this I stole two things from. Once again, you see the trees in the back, see all the white birch trees?
Yep.
Nothing on that hill but birch trees and pine trees. And I think this is the loader in Babbitt. But look at that loader. So they have kind of this flood loader. And before I could kit bash one, I was using these as my flood loaders at my two mines. I've since cut them down, not as tall, and redoing some of them with like different conveyors. But that inspired me to do my ore loaders. So, and I think that's it. That's it for that. So let me bring up one for the chat. So tell us in chat what you see there. The two things I notice is the guy who owned this train didn't weather it all on the same day.
No.
So what do you see, Ken's, in there? What do you guys see?
Well, like you said, the second locomotive or the second and third one, it's kind of hard to tell if there's, well, I guess there's just two up there. Yeah, definitely weathered differently, which is good because a lot of times you see trains running it on layouts and shows, and every car looks by itself, they look great. But when the whole train every car looks identical, it kind of looks like you ran it through a weathering car wash. But yeah, definitely different types of weathering at different times.
Yeah, I also like the sidewalks. You know, it looks like those are big 2x12s or 2x4 some big wood planks in between the rails, and that's really unique. And then just up before it must go into a turnout there is it looks like guardrails. That's pretty neat. So gosh, there's a lot of detail here you can see.
And you look at that, you can see I think it's a train order sign. Maybe Mike Slater is in here. Maybe that's a train order semaphore, or I see that over to the left. Maybe the tall one is the signal.
Yeah, I believe it is.
I just love that, you know, everybody who models a passenger train, it's fresh out of the shops or out of the wash rack. And you wouldn't dare have anything look like this, but yet that's what they looked like, you know.
Well, if you kind of look at the ground, you've kind of got that sloppy, like early spring where stuff has melted and frozen and melted and frozen, and you can see some piles of ice and frozen puddles and stuff, and you can see all the cruddy spray that came up on the sides of the car, just like everybody gets on their windshields when they drive around here that time of year.
Yep.
And
you know, Mike Jordan brought up a good point. It's possible that's a combination of two trains that's now coming into the, you know, somewhere behind there that it would normally split. So that's cool. And then Mike Slater's got your answer.
Yeah, there we go. Yep. Thanks, Mike. But yeah, these C&W trains going to the north woods of Wisconsin would encounter all kinds of weather, you know, going up to Elko and Rhinelander and all the other ways and things like that. And of course, then you have like a neon sign or a lit railroad sign because they were proud of what they did back then.
Right.
I don't suppose anybody knows where this picture was taken.
I should look at the slide. I would guess it's somewhere on the Fox Valley line up towards Green Bay or something, or Madison maybe. I guess somebody's guessing. Paul, and we are the only show that knows how to pronounce Mondovi correctly. So. Yeah.
Hey, you know, Mike said that's by the Ball and Bar sign. Is that a 3-2 place or is that hard liquor? I mean, I know Wisconsin's everything's bar.
Everything is bar. Everything is bar. But like here, like, you know, Collins, I never considered making passenger cars so dirty. And so you could do this with your, you know, Flambeau 400 and then keep this photo in your pocket like Mike Jordan and slap it on the table there. And just... But yeah, there's a lot to see here. You look at the cross bucks in the middle with the number of tracks.
Yep.
And it's really, really neat stuff.
Looks like a couple of taxis there by the station too.
Oh, is there? Okay. So here's something familiar to Mike Jordan, but I thought this had a lot of character. So what do you guys see in here?
Are those 70 tonners? Are those dummies?
Might be. I think they got spud trucks on them.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's oh, and it is. Look, it's the Sierra Valley.
Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive.
But look at they got a crossover in the road.
Wow.
You know. And I think there's names on the buildings. I'm trying to figure out what that building is behind it. Is that
I was going to say it's an open air lumber, but I think it's a no-tell motel.
that might be.
Kind of has that hotel look about it, but
It does.
I don't know.
Might be.
Yeah.
But the engines have marker lamps. You know?
Yeah.
They got the big awnings. Pacific Fruit Express car. You know, you kind of figure out where they are with that.
Yeah. Boy, that is unique.
Oh, here we go. We got the expert now. Oh, there's Mike Jordan. Here we go.
Icing
platform.
platforms.
Ah, and a
That could be-
produce loader.
Really? Wow. Oh, of course. And those little dark things are little ramps that fold down. Oh. I think a no-tell motel sounds better anyway.
Even Dave knows it's an icing platform. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool. I suppose they walk up there and get all those high school football players in the summer throwing around 300-pound chunks of ice and stuff. So
Mm.
here's the
Okay.
it's the last one I got. And this is the interesting. This is 1980.
Wow. So top hoop is for the engineers and the bottom hoop is for the rear of the train, the conductors, rear and brakeman.
Yep. Because the engineer, they set up higher. You know,
Yep.
We got some welded rail there laying on the ground too.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's supported by an old tie. You know, they have this metal swing arm.
Yep.
And you're in the middle of Montana, so you save a lot of money modeling trees here.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Super Tree is not going to get any work out of them.
Right. And you don't have to buy all that green scenery. So but you can notice that it's green along the ballast because when it rains, that's where it drains to,
Yeah.
you know. And Collins says too, yeah, a chunk of rail in the front. Looks like welded rail down there. Might
Yep.
be getting an upgrade on the siding or
Yeah, but that's a detail that I so rarely see anybody model is the order hoops like that.
yeah.
If you look at the ballast, it looks like it was recently ballasted, so they probably just swapped out that rail. That's the old rail laying there, and they just haven't come back to clean up the ballast because it's almost covering all the ties and everything.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, I believe you're right.
Yeah. And I've seen layouts like Joe Binish where they have the figures. I know Model U 3D makes a person with the hoop, you know, and the operator would come out and hoop it up. But I never don't see many of these still on layout
No.
and things like that. So I don't know. Anybody else see anything in chat what you're looking at there? I mean, even the hoop thing is weathered. Look at the rust on there.
Yeah.
And hopefully it swings if a guy hits it or something.
It looks like about halfway down on the upright, there's a little locking mechanism. So I imagine he can pick it up and turn it to the side so he can load it. Then he puts it back in that space and then puts the brake down on it because I think you know the guy's got to put his arm through that hoop and then the string comes off. If he's stupid enough to hit the bar, well, it's probably going to take him off too, and then he gets 30 days or.
I bet you only do it once. So
You only
here's
do
a
it
little
once.
detail. If you look right past this, like the the base of the hoop, you notice the grass is black.
Yep.
So it looks like they had a little fire.
Or is that a shadow of a building that might be over there?
Yeah. Well, it's not. I thought it was, but then there's still light in there. So you wonder.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm thinking it's probably burnt because this time of year they probably would burn all the grass around the depot. So if there was a wildfire, it wouldn't get to the depot.
Yeah. Yeah. And like Mike said, even 1980, they're sticking out the plates, on the side of the caboose.
Yeah.
They're not using lanterns, but they're still using markers. So even, this is a modelable scene. Tell me you can't find, if you have a main line, if you're not modeling industrial area, but if you have a main line or a little station or something, just, I know what Mike Jordan call these vignettes.
Yep.
And just get a railroad tie and then, Scratchbuilder, make a little brass holder and, pose a guy with his arm, sticking out.
Yep.
This would make a great photo for a calendar or something. Look at the sky, it's Kodachrome sky. And like Ken Borowski said, if you look towards the horizon, the clouds are all a wisp. But the closer they are to you, the more crisp they are.
So my question would be, why would they even be using this? Why wouldn't the agent at the station there just hold the hoop and hand it up to him with the hoop? Why would they use like a...
Well, it is in Montana, up on the Great Northern High Line, so weather might be a thing. So the operator can go out there and tie it, and then go back and take shelter for those lovely winters and 80-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, in the NP Historical Society, you used to hear stories from operators that would tell you about standing out there with the bamboo hoop when a big Z5 would come pounding by at 30 miles an hour, and you really felt you were taking your life in your own hands.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, can you imagine standing there as one of those Northern Pacific Z8s or Z6 bears down on you?
Yeah.
And if there's someone in the cupola, so here you're in the era of 1980, you're still in a 3 or 4 man crew.
Yep.
Engineer, head brakeman, rear brakeman, and a conductor.
Yep.
So, you have to figure your era and then maybe put your figures, how many figures you have on that train.
Yep.
But yeah, this would make I thought this would neat little vignette.
Perfect.
It's like Ken's church. There's a little area I can just notch and put this church. And we can do that. So.
Yep. So that's what I would like to encourage everybody in the chat. Take some time between now and we'll continue to spatter these in and give us at least a couple photos or a few more like Tom did, and that say, this is what I saw on the prototype and this is what it inspired me to do. Here are some of the details that I thought were important. So help us all get involved and show everybody what a keen modeler's eye you have. So,
and how do you replicate that?
How do you replicate that?
And it's not prototype modeling because I freelance, but it's a take from the prototype ideas. Like Ken, like you did. Yours is kind of freelance, but how do you do the Minnesota prairie with these clumps of trees and water and this and slow and
right? But yet, if you were going to try to get your prototype modeler achievement, that church, the tunnel, those are the kind of features that they're looking for because you're recreating a prototype scene on your model railroad. And again, even if you're doing a freelance railroad, it just enhances the whole look of your project.
Yeah,
so
it sells your story a lot better.
Exactly.
Well, especially too if you're modeling something that kind of answers all your questions too. If you're modeling an actual scene, because what color should something be? How big should it be? All that stuff, instead of trying to make it up and kind of blend in colors that really don't match with each other. You just look at the real thing.
Yep, I agree with you.
Yep.
So,
all right. Well, thank you guys.
Yep. Say one thing I want, Mike Penn's here, the artist, and Mike said he's going to send you some of his drawings. I have some downstairs, and talk about a guy that was just great at capturing scenes around the Twin Cities, and they were not exotic oil paintings, but they're just beautiful, crisp. Pen and ink or pencil or what sorry, I'm not an artist, so they weren't color crayon, which is what I would have done. But they're just really fun to have, and kind of a neat thing to see around your house, because it tells the story of the Twin Cities.
Yeah, but I see Mike's later bases his off location and puts a photo up. I've seen many people on layouts do that around here. Ed Petrie does that, and I've seen that on Jack Gutch's narrow gauge layout, and I think Milt Spanton as well, where they'll actually have the picture, somewhere on the fascia or something for you to kind of, oh, here I am here. So, but yeah, we'd like to do more of these. If you guys show us what you're modeling and what inspired you, send it in.
Very good.
Sounds great. So, pleasure seeing everybody.
Yeah. Hope everybody has a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Thank you.
And Tom, we're still on Wednesday next week?
Yes. We'll stick with this for now.
Okay.
Is Wednesday Christmas or something? What am I?
No. I know you had talked about your schedule changing.
Right.
So.
Right. So, we'll probably go to Fridays, back to Fridays for January and February.
Okay.
So we'll do Wednesdays through December, and then we'll go to Fridays through January and February, and before we end it. And like I said, so send us your photos, send us your events. Send us anything else that's going on in the community. And
Okay.
if you have any questions about what's going on our website, we have a new webmaster. Damien has cleaned it all up, and we're looking forward to you. If you're a member or something, contact us. We'll give you the Zoom code.
Yeah,
And
if you're not getting the emails and stuff too, make sure
Yeah.
you let somebody know so you can get back on the list, because they could be going to your spam folder, or maybe way back when you decided not to get them and now you're wondering, oh shoot, why aren't I getting anything?
Yep.
So
Because we've got a lot of stuff going on.
yeah. And if you want to see something done, let us know, and we'll instantly make you the chairman of it. So, but like, people are coming from all over. It's good to see Dave Berman from La Crosse came up to operate North Metro. We had a lot of new guys at North Metro, and we will continue to do that. So thank you all. Thanks for participating. Thanks for saying hi. And with that, I guess we'll say goodnight. Say goodnight, guys.
Good night.
see ya.